All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started here shortly. Anyone have any questions before we get started? Media packets. Everyone should have a media packet. We'll do the press conference with Chief Haddad after that. There'll be an opportunity to film additional up here if you want and ask the chief any questions afterwards. Everyone, please practice the social distancing. We have masks available if anyone needs a mask. Audio check, final audio check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check. Okay, Chief Haddad.
Thank you, Corporal Bartok. And before I get started, let me just thank our department members that set this up on a moment's notice, our training office, our support services. Welcome to the property room there, Sergeant Yeaman and Captain Zelazny. I appreciate the hard work. Let me say good morning. We got several calls on this homicide shooting we had last Thursday on the 16th, and I appreciate the media reaching out to see if you could be of assistance. So, and you can be of some assistance. I'm going to let you know momentarily, but I want to just give you an update. On Thursday, July 16th at about 10:15 p.m., Detroit police were called to the 7900 block of Chase and Tireman for a shooting. Upon arrival at the Star Market, officers discovered a 19-year-old fatally shot with a second gentleman, a 34-year-old Inkster resident, critically injured. The second victim remains in the hospital fighting for life at this time. Here's what we know at this time. This was not a random act of violence. The assailants knew the victims and had pursued them. Dearborn police spared no resource and identified and apprehended 2 subjects for this violent act within 16 hours. And that was very key for us to really bring this to a close because we knew how violent and how ruthless these individuals were. Currently in custody, we have Stephen Jerome Pruitt and Timothy Paul Bennett, both career criminals, and they've been indicted on multiple count warrants. Both have been arraigned by Honorable Judge Sam Selamy of the 19th District Court. They were remanded to the Wayne County Jail. No bond. I can tell you that their next day in court will be July 31st at 9 a.m. Let me point out a couple of things here. Neighborhood stores are often crowded and meeting places. These subjects were ruthless and extremely dangerous to our community. Dearborn Police and Fire, as well as Detroit Police, coordinated a very critical incident response. And you can see on the video here, we can show you what that response looked like. And I'm a little ahead of myself. You also want to know how crowded the store was. And I've been directed by the Wayne County prosecutor not to show you any more footage of the incidents themselves. But you can see how crowded that store was, and more people could have been injured. The second video shows you the response that took place there. This homicide and shooting has impacted a major part of our community, and on Saturday, July 18th, they held a candlelight vigil at the store, which was put on by family and friends of the victim. And here's where the media can come in. Again, let me thank you for what you've always done. We have 2 more people of interest that we would like to talk to, and we're going to show you the pictures. And after this is over, my secretary will give you electronic copies of this entire package. But I want the citizens to look very closely at these 2 people right here, these 2 men. They should be easily recognized and identified. And we're asking anyone that has any information on these 2 to let Dearborn Police know right away. And you know, I'm often asked about crime rates during COVID. We had a real soft winter, crime was up, COVID came on, you know, March 1, and it kind of balanced off the soft winter and crime went down again. Year to date in the city of Dearborn, we're down about 20% on crime, but a couple of interesting factors. year to date, we've had about a 25% increase in firearm-related offenses. Additionally, we've had a 130% increase with firearms from June 1st to the present. Some of the weapons you see here are the weapons taken since the beginning of the year. And again, we can't, overscore the danger that our men and women face on the street every single day. You had two people at a store that walked in and violently shot up two people that they had pursued. And every single day, our great men and women pursue justice by taking these guns off the street, and they put themselves in harm's way so that citizens are kept safer. I'm somewhat limited in what I can tell you about the homicide and the shooting. We've been directed by the prosecutor that all people are presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. And I can tell you that our detectives have worked tirelessly to secure evidence, witnesses, and things material to this crime. But I'll answer any questions about the shooting that I can, or if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them as well.
You have counted these weapons, adding as we go?
I did, but I don't have it with me. We can get that for you. I know that last week we took 12 guns off the street, and after this report was made, we took another couple last night, so it's quite a few.
Can you talk about how COVID's been going on, in terms of efforts to minimize spread here in the city of Dearborn?
That's a great question. Most recently, we've asked everyone to wear their masks. That's what the governor's order requires. I can tell you that early in March, we got together with the mayor and the fire chief, and we set up contingency planning, and we worked very hard to find resources to test our people, and particularly our law enforcement community. And as a result, we had partnered with CVS and the people in Lansing, the National Guard, and we set up a center behind the library where 25,000 of our regional residents were checked for COVID, and about 8% proved to be positive. Equally important, we were able to run 2,000 tests on our regional police, fire, and EMS to keep them on the street and keep them healthy. And I couldn't be more grateful for the mayor and his leadership on that, because he gave us permission early on and backing financially to pursue the Abbott rapid testing machine. And had we not got into that early in March, none of this other stuff would have happened. Additionally, there's been about 30 food giveaways all over the city, gleaners, places of worship, and other civic and community groups. We've also, as a city, served as a distribution point for FEMA, the National Stockpile, and that's for our entire region. Again, that happened out of the Performing Arts Center. And we also had a secondary, I'll call it a field hospital, in the event that our hospitals got overrun. And it was a good test to make sure that we're capable of doing that, although we had virtually little use for it, but we were still prepared to make sure that if there's a secondary illness that's not related to COVID, we'd have somewhere where we could hold them and get them some type of treatment. And today we just continue to educate the public. And again, the most important thing right now is to continue to wear the masks and take all the other CDC recommendations to heart. Our city has fared much better than some parts of the region, but we didn't start out that way. When we started out, we were spiked as high as anyone in the state. And again, it's a tribute to the cooperation and compliance that we get from our citizens here.
Looking at all these guns, over how long of a period of time did you confiscate all these guns, and where do you believe they've been coming from?
They come from everywhere. I don't have to tell you that there's more guns in America than people right now. I think that people are genuinely in fear because of the obvious hate and hostility that exists in our country, to be very honest about it. And so there's a lot of guns out there. But I just want to caution citizens to use the best judgment when they carry a weapon. Make sure that you're licensed. And if you are stopped by the police, it would be better for you to tell them it's there before we discover it. And again, I can't emphasize enough, we are not perfect, but I can tell you that the men and women work very hard at de-escalation and to ensure that we do our very best to keep our community safe, as well as the persons that have violated the law.
What are your officers doing to enforce gas compliance? Are they asking for giving a warning first, and have they issued any citations?
Yeah, Sue, we've done a lot of training. I think we've issued 400 bulletins, hard copies to stores and other places in our city. We are currently training people and warning people. I don't have any information that indicates we've written a ticket yet. There may come a time when we have to step up enforcement, but compliance is the best practice, and I can see that everyone in this room today has got a mask on, and I just took mine off for the press conference. I also recognize the mayor here. He's got a mask on as well. We appreciate you always being here with us, Mayor, so thank you for being here this morning. But they are. They've been equipped since the 1st of March. They wear them where appropriate and when needed, and the answer is yes, they do wear them. I'm sorry? Yes, some were stolen, reported stolen, so once you confiscate and run the serial numbers, that's determined. Again, just off the top of my head, I read the reports daily. I would say that most of them were not stolen. There may be a few stolen ones. More often than not, they're not stolen. Anything else? Okay. Any questions? All right, let me say thank you, and please, if you can get those two faces out in front of our public on your websites, your newscast, I would be very grateful. And again, let me thank our entire police department for always stepping up. When this homicide and shooting took place, they knew they weren't going home till it was finished, and they stayed out there for 16 hours knowing how dangerous these two individuals were, to ensure that the community was not put at additional risk. And I couldn't be happier and prouder and grateful for the great work they do, so thank you. It's right on the Dearborn-Detroit border, but it's on the south side, so it's Dearborn. Yes, yeah, well, that's where it may have a Tireman address, but it's right there with the, 7900 block, right on the corner. Last few months, for sure.
Can I just get Reader's Digest version of the homicide?
On the 16th of July, Thursday, we had a double shooting at the 5-Star Market at Tireman and Chase. Officers responded. There was one decedent at the scene. Another innocent bystander was shot, who happened to be in the store, brings to life at the
Are you surprised by all these guns?
Unfortunately, I am not surprised. These are things that I monitor for a living. I clearly recognize that there are more guns than people in our country, which is the right to carry. They also pose an apparent danger on the street to men and women. And no, I'm not surprised. I wish it wasn't so, but we know what we're up against here.
And can you, what's the latest on BLM movements in Dearborn?
We've had protests. Clearly, Black lives do matter, as do all lives, and I understand that there's a very gross sense of hopelessness among the black community, and I think us in law enforcement and those that serve the public have a moral and legal obligation to fix that.
Do you think you have good recognition, acceptability among the black community?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good reputation because we've really done a lot of community engagement for the last 12 years. And again, it starts with our mayor on down to us. And can we do better? We can always do better. We're part of the human race, so we do lack perfection. But I think, yes, we've done a lot to engage our community, to bring about civility, to ensure equitable treatment. We're one of the first police departments in the country to use body cams. We're in fact in the second life now. We're replacing them to get a more high-tech type of body cam. So, you know, hard work is ahead of us, and but I'm somewhat optimistic based on all the work we've done.
Thank you.
Sue, I saw you roll your eyes. Do you see police without masks all the time?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if I could, on the record, 2 Saturday nights ago at the Kroger right over here, there was an assault when a young man in line spoke to another man about not wearing a mask and going the wrong way down an aisle. The man chest bumped the person who brought it up. When the man in line pushed him back, he assaulted the man by hitting him in the lip with a fist. I FOIA'd the police report. It's been a week. I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay.
You know, I'm just wondering why it's so hard to get a simple report like that. And,
Well, I don't know.
and the responding officers who came within 10 minutes were not wearing masks.
Okay, well, I'll look into that. No, that's good. No, that's fine. I'll look into that. And I can tell you that we're going to do a case. So, criminal charges. Well, okay, you know more about this than I do. I'll look into it and I'll see if there's a reason not to carry it. Yeah, it takes 5 to 6 days. I'll get it. I'll get it.
But, you know, it seems like
No, that's fine. And you have obviously personal interest in this.
نقلنا لكم الصورة من واتساب ميديا من داخل المؤتمر الصحفي لمكافحة الجريمة الكبرى من مدينة ديربون، وابقوا معنا ويا اللايف البث اللايف واتساب ميديا. هذه الأسلحة طبعا اللي حصلوا عليها شرطة ديربون من الأشخاص اللي حاملينهم بصورة غير رسمية. من مدينة ديربون ولاية ميشيغان من البوليس ستيشن جليل البصري. السلام عليكم.